Hey, everybody. This is Dr. Dana Martin, your host on the Sith Dominion podcast. Welcome, and welcome to all of my guests tonight. It's always good when we have more than just me. That's every time. Cameron, welcome to the show. Your first time on the show. How are you doing this evening?
I'm good. Glad to be here. Kind of nervous, but looking forward to it.
Nothing to be nervous about. I said your first time, but we'll see if it's your last time. Zane, how are you doing this evening, sir? Great to have you
Good.
back.
Pretty good. Just chilling.
And our AV extraordinaire, who I send everything to and bypass all the rules, Kat. Thank you for being on the show again, Kat.
There are rules?
There are. I try to follow rules, but
no one tells me there's rules. I make pretty pictures.
Forgiveness, not permission.
Yeah.
Nice. We have already got some folks jumping on. Josiah, hey, how you doing? Yes, let's go. I don't know who BRN is, but let's go. I'm trying to get hyped because I'm tired. But we have a great show because we're going to be talking about the Sith Inquisitors tonight. And whoa, what Inquisitors? I posted a TikTok, and Debbie, if you're out there, you ruined it. You broke it. I was supposed to have everybody like, yeah, this is. Oh, wait. And then magically someone pop in and say they're not Sith. But no, you did it right away. Thanks, Debbie. So even though you were like, nah, I won't be on the show, I made sure you were on the show. And you made sure you were on the show. Hi, Debbie. Nice of you to break my show. Just kidding. Debbie, we love you. But that was kind of the opening of what we're going to be talking about tonight. Is they were kind of Sith, but they weren't actually Sith. And yes, Josiah, absolute, they're not Sith. So what we're going to talk about for news, I don't even know what kind of news is out there other than I know there has been some chatter in the video game world, but I'm not sure what's happening with those projects because last I heard, like the Gritty project was on hold again. And there was another VR crazy thing that's on hold. And I don't know why it's all on hold, but everything's on hold. All the gaming for Star Wars has been on hold, unless someone out there is listening and knows different or any of you.
I'm guessing it may have to do with the strike.
100%.
Because voice actors, some of them are part of the Screen Actors Guild because they don't just voice video games, they voice animated films.
Yeah.
So that would be my best guess. That or Mickey Mouse is finally broke, one or the other.
Darth Mickey. So funny you should say that. Actually, I do a TikTok. I try to while I'm setting up, and Kari Walgren jumped on the live. She just passed through. She probably was like, oh, that guy, and moved on. But the fact is, wonderful voice actress, Kari Walgren, voices a lot of folks. You can't see it, but it's Tigress from, yeah. Anyways, nice. I know I'm totally that fanboy. And that's probably why she left, because I was like, oh, my God. Right? Hi, how you doing, Kari? Yeah, anyhow. So, yeah, no, I totally didn't think of that. That writer strike extends so far. Has there been any update? I know Ambrose had an article or two on it.
So the writers, I know there's been some movement on the writer side. I honestly haven't. There was just a certain point when I just got bored with it. I'm just be honest. 2023, it's the year of the strike. Everyone's striking.
Yeah, true.
I just who now? Like, where's my strike bingo card? So I don't think they'd started talking with the Actors Guild yet. Last I knew, it was just the writers they had kind of come to some terms with. So you have people like Stephen Colbert, who he is SAG through the Writers Guild because he was a comedic writer before he was a night show host.
Mm-hmm.
So you have some of those folks, which because of the fact that the writers are coming to some terms, have gone back to work. So a lot of your late night guys that were part of that. But I haven't heard anything about the Actors Guild.
Man, I had forgotten all of that was kind of under my radar over the last little bit. There were some other things happening in the world, I guess, that were more important. But we're not going to talk about those things. We already established that. So thanks for that. So, yeah, I think I want to say I know John Ambrose, who's been a guest on this show, has been a guest across Geek News Now. He's one of our staff writers, has been following it really close. So jump over to geeknewsnow.net, search up Ambrose or Strike or something of that effect, and you'll pop up his articles where he's following it. Cool, man. I gotta get into the Inquisitors, man. Like already. What time is it? 8:07. We've been in this 5 minutes. We're supposed to be in it 12 minutes, but I'm not gonna. We're gonna move on. So, Inquisitors. I want to start with everyone here knows the Inquisitors, has experience with the Inquisitors, whether it was comic or because that whole thing with Darth Vader, number 7, I read that. It was freaking amazing. From comic to animated series to now live action, the Inquisitors are all over the place. So when you hear Inquisitor, Zane, what's the first thing that pops in your head?
I think of the Grand Inquisitor.
The Grand Inquisitor?
Yeah.
Sure.
Well, specifically because when I see him, it reminds me of the guys from Revenge of the Sith when Obi-Wan Kenobi finds Grievous.
Mm-hmm. On Utapau? Yeah.
The red. Yeah.
He is here. If you have warriors, now is the time. That scene, yeah, gotcha. I love it. Well, and yeah, the Grand Inquisitor being from Utapau made it like it was a good crossover because that was a character we'd never seen before, and then now you're using this character as a very foundational character in the story and the arc. So yeah, man, I dug that. That's good. Cameron, what about you?
I think of like Vader's minions in a sense. I don't honestly believe Vader was a big fan of the Inquisitors. Because I feel like he thought that it was kind of a dig by Palpatine, because I guess he obviously viewed Anakin sort of as imperfect once he got into the suit and he got all his injuries and all of that. So I think it was just kind of another plot by Palpatine to kind of mess with Vader's head and kind of make him fall more into the dark side and kind of use that anger and like, oh, he doesn't think I'm that powerful. He doesn't think I can hunt down all these Jedi, that type of stuff. So,
heck yeah. Kat, you hear the word Inquisitor, what comes to mind?
I mean, they're basically glorified bounty hunters.
Oh.
I mean, if you really think about it, think of them like you have the Mandalorians, which are hunting for a fee. Inquisitors are basically sanctioned by the Imperials. So they're like sending like your local law enforcement for your area, or like sending in like, your local, your military. So they're like free bounty hunters.
Fully supplied by whatever
the
they
Empire.
need. Yeah.
Yeah.
Endless resources. Bounty hunters with endless resources. I'm going to go ahead and bring you in cold because it's cheaper.
Yeah.
I don't have to feed you.
I mean, really, if you think about it, how much we know there was a strong relationship between Boba Fett and the Empire.
Mm-hmm.
But at what point were they like, we really just don't want to pay your fee?
Yeah.
We've got our own guys.
True. Well,
and Inquisitors were ruthless.
They were.
just did not care.
Yeah.
I like the bit about the dig at Vader from Palpatine. So in that, go read it, everyone listening, whatever. It's episode 7 in the Vader comic, and holy cow, he gets pissed off, and he's like, you want me to train him? Okay, and like severs limbs off of every single one of them and freaking just let the anger build up in him and made him even more powerful. Palpatine was a genius. But that doesn't seem to work for me, at least in my job. If I'm in a situation where I know I'm good at what I do and you bring in a whole bunch of people under me, that's not going to motivate me to do better. That's going to probably motivate me to go elsewhere. But I don't have the connection of the Sith. Now, could you imagine? I could never. Zane, when you're in in the pit, like, could you imagine? Like, we know you're good. We're gonna bring someone up. You can stand above them and teach them, and just watch them do your job. How long would you stick around? Yeah, exactly.
I wouldn't.
See, I, on the other hand, would be like, oh, you want me to show this person what I do? Okay, let's see how long it is before they quit.
Go chop. So Kat would go chop limbs off. That's what.
Yeah, I'd be like, okay, like, well, and here's this has always been my philosophy. I am not a hoarder of knowledge, and tribal knowledge does no one any good.
Mm-hmm.
I am all about sharing the wealth of knowledge, and at that point, other people have the knowledge, so they can use it to however they see fit. But yeah, usually, at least in my line of work, once people get into seeing exactly what I do, they're like, "Nah, dog, I'm gonna go back to where I was at. This is a whole nother level."
I love that you brought that up. So when the Grand Inquisitor was first brought on by Palpatine, he allowed the Grand Inquisitor, to have full unlimited access to the Jedi archives, which was huge for him because as a Jedi, he was never, you're not allowed to go just wander and, oh, what's her name? God, that old biddy. She just, stop it. Oh, you look like are you sure you know where you're looking? Obi-Wan? Like, just shut up. Sorry. And there's even some in the comic where they track her down. Sorry, I got on this tangent with her. I don't like her either. I understand, Grand Inquisitor. I understand. So yeah, unlimited knowledge of the Jedi archives. All light, all dark, secrets that were even kept from Vader. So I like that, Cameron. You brought that up. We can expand on that a bit, because not only was it a dig to get the Inquisitors, the access that he had. Man.
That was the whole reason he joined Palpatine. He wanted to go into the archives, figure out how to save his wife, and he makes a deal with the devil and loses everything.
Yep. So one of the cool things about Vader and their confrontation was that Vader, who's seen the was it Obi-Wan? Where does the Inquisitor get his saber cut in half? I can't remember what show that was. Crud. Anyways, he gets his saber cut in half. Maybe Rebels. And that actually happened to him with Vader. Vader did that to him as well. So the parallels were cool there. But kind of going back to his beginning, what would make a person like the Inquisitor turn as a Jedi? So to a Sith-ish dark Jedi. Certainly torture and these things, but would you say a quest for knowledge could be that strong that you would do anything for it?
Is it maybe not the quest for knowledge, but the quest for the truth? Like we've discussed several times on this show, the Jedi, the hypocrisy that the Jedi reek of,
yeah,
is a foul stench. But because they were keeping all of these secrets, it's just like you can't tell a lie because then you have to keep up the lie. Well, the Jedi told so many lies that eventually people were going to start seeing holes in that and want to know the truth.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes it's not, like we said, going more towards the dark side, not necessarily saying evil,
Mm-hmm.
but it's like you take off those rose-colored glasses and accept the truth for what it is. Yes, it jades you a little bit, but it's because you're looking for that reality.
Sure. And truth's so hard, man. How do you know where to go? You got, and it's a journey, and it can be taxing, but how far do you go? I think that was the Kylo Ren thing from a while. You know, how far do you go for your quest for truth? And Kylo sends truth for self, but like, do you kill your dad? Do you just go dive into the dark side because that's the only way, that's the only route? I don't know that in today's world we have the capability to see that kind of, I don't want to say evil too, but darkness, a quest that would destroy everything in its path for a truth. I mean, unless the Large Hadron Collider kills us all.
Yeah,
But-
you know.
But I mean, I guess there are Oppenheimer. I mean, that's a real example of something, a quest for truth. What is that next layer? What happens with this? Can I do that? And
Space travel.
Space travel.
Astronauts. They sacrifice their bodies, their families, everything in the quest for the truth of what is out there beyond our planet.
Mm-hmm. So for the Inquisitor, maybe it was, this is just what I have to do. I dig what I have to do. It'll help me in my quest for truth.
I mean, wouldn't it have been kind of like a sense of survival too? Because clearly there was not going to be a Jedi Order. And so it was kind of like, I mean, if you're powerful enough, you either join the gang or you're going to die with the rest of them. So, I mean, I think for some, probably like some of the lesser Inquisitors per se, it kind of might have just been like survival of the fittest, and I'm just going to do what I can just to kind of not be killed. So,
no, absolutely. I think that's a great segue. Thanks, Cameron. To get to, I want to skip third sister Reva. Oh man, I liked Reva. I think some folks gave her some grief. The actress some grief. I think the actress did well with what she was given, and I really wish we could have seen more of her. Check out my TikToks. I reposted an anxious Angie one. Who run the world, girls, and she's in there too. But yeah, they don't. Sorry, but I'm just kidding. I don't know. Maybe they do. But the third sister. So she, in Obi-Wan, was one of those that was tortured to fall, and she wasn't given a choice. It was either you die or you turn, and that was her story. But within that, so that she didn't let that define her and be her story. She wanted more. So I think with Reva, when we look at her whole, whatever at the end, but when you look at the whole,
multiple holes.
That is the what?
Multiple holes. She was stabbed multiple times. So.
Multiple times.
And lived.
Poor Reva. So you should vaporize. Anyways, another show. So when I think about her, she seemed one of those very conflicted ones. Yes, she had purpose. Yes, she had vision. She wanted to be Grand Inquisitor, but she struggled with her purpose. What would you say?
Because if you really think about it, it gets back to the age-old concept of without the light, there is no dark, and without the dark, there is no light. So if you snuff out all these Force users, regardless of the reason they're using the Force, good, bad, otherwise, ultimately what happens at a point in that kind of witch hunt where they're going to come back for you?
Mm-hmm. That's true. You know, reboot. She was. Well, okay, hold on. So I think I might be getting them mixed up. Which one was the one in Jedi Survivor?
That was ninth sister,
Mm-hmm.
right?
All right. Okay.
It was
Yeah.
one of the
yeah.
later
Second,
sisters.
That was
yes,
Fallen
second
Order.
sister was in Fallen Order.
Fallen Order.
Yeah.
Sorry. Yes, that's what I meant. See, sorry. That's the one I'm talking about. Second sister. She also, I thought, was one of those that wasn't solely, I don't know, seemed to have the struggle, whereas folks like full on Sith, Dooku, Maul, like they don't struggle with good or bad. Like they know what their purpose is. And I find it interesting that these ex-Jedi, specifically second and third sisters, had struggle with light and dark coming from being a Jedi. But Anakin didn't. Dooku didn't. But so help me understand why.
Is it maybe the portrayal? Because in earlier films, I would say 1 through 6, there was definitely that storytelling of the bad guys are really bad and the good guys are really good. So there wasn't room for that gray area, because in a 2.5, 3 hour movie, you don't have time to get into the gray. But in a TV series where you have time for character development, you have time. It's very much like Captain Phasma.
Mm-hmm.
In the movies, like she has like less than 5 minutes of screen time. But if you're ever reading in the books or the comics, she was top tier.
Oh, 100%.
But even she always had conflict.
Her book is amazing.
But it was from her experiences of, like, you know, when she crash landed on a foreign planet where everything on that planet is like Australia and designed to kill you.
Mm-hmm.
You know, literally, like, what looks like water will eat through your Beskar. You know, so I think we're starting to see more of that character development, which is part of why people are like, oh, why is this happening? I don't want story. I just want pew pew. You know, so that's why some people like see certain characters and they instantly lash out at them because it's a character that doesn't fit that mold.
Yeah. I mean, there's definitely duality in those two. And maybe, like you said, there's a lot more development in the game, Fallen Order, for the second sister and in Obi-Wan. So we get, and then of course, Grand Inquisitor throughout, you see that development. But I just don't think he was like hardcore, I'm just an evil dude, right? I think he had his purpose and he knew what that was. But so is there anything that you feel like you within your organization would not go along with? In today's day and age, I think it's hard to kind of come up with examples of things that your organization may do that would cause you to say, no, I'm not going to do it. And what I'm leading to here is, you know, every one of these had an option to die as a Jedi. They had that option. They chose not to. Why? What would drive you to choose? Yes, survival, et cetera, et cetera. But ultimately, if you were that hardcore about your ideal, you would have died for it. I think. What ideals do you think in your organization would make you be like, no, I'm not going that way? That's a tough thing to, I think about, because there's things that, I'd follow for X, Y, and Z. But if my org made a decision like A, B, C, I don't know that I'd follow along and I'd look elsewhere.
I mean, I'm in that boat.
Already.
Yeah. No, I've spent 20 plus years in corporate America. I've seen a lot of good. I've seen a lot of bad. I've seen a lot of ugly. But one thing that I think that I knew ahead of time, a lot of people kind of had to learn, was working from home. And the better balance that gave people. Do I strongly disagree with the way that many companies, including my own, activated their return to office? Oh, yeah. Do I have a letter if I ever have to fall on that sword? Yup. Yeah, there was, like, even for me, there was an email. It turned out it was sent to me in error.
Oh, goodness gracious.
It was sent to me in error while I was out on PTO. That was like, oh, by the way, everyone's back in the office as of Tuesday.
Whoops.
I came back to work on Monday. I reached out to my boss, said, so I got this email with a desk assignment in an area in the office. Says I'm supposed to be there tomorrow. My boss panicked. She's like, send me the email. It had to have been an error. The tone said, please don't quit. Because
well, you're right, though. That work from home thing's huge. There's such, I think that's a good example, too. Some orgs will use that as a way to attrit.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's kind of crappy because, some folks got so used to the pay raise from not driving everywhere and eating out all the time that they would take a pay cut to readjust their lifestyle.
Yeah.
And it was better for them if they stayed remote. And organizations lost a lot of power during it's like the separatists. It's like we're losing power. And how do we get it back? We got to get that power back. And
I think too, not only you get to eat healthier at home, you get to do these other things when you're working remotely. I think it was also the way it was brought about. I can't talk for every company, but I know that my company originally was like, hey, we're going to start this on a trial basis. We're going to start with people who want to go back because let's face it, some people enjoy working in an office. My husband, if they'd let him go back to working in an office, he'd jump on it in a second. I am not that person. And then all of a sudden, within a few weeks of we're going to start this on a trial, voluntary, those that want to come back into the office can start coming back full time. It was an about face, and it was starting in 30 days. You all need to be back in the office 3 days a week. So that for me right there was like, oh, okay, this is how we're playing this game. Now the reason I didn't have to is because I had been work from home for several years prior. So I was exempt from that. But am I sometimes the person that voices for my coworkers?
Yeah.
The displeasure of how that was handled? Yes. Yeah, we hate offices because we can't hit anybody. So we can't shoot the guy and not.
Man, that's a whole nother show. It actually gets me like, oh, don't say this. It was all part of the plan, man. And
they were told not to hit them.
Yeah, Obi-Wan said it. Those blaster marks are too accurate. Only Imperial stormtroopers are that. Like that line made the whole meme joke thing for me like changed immediately when I really heard that for the first time. Sorry.
Yeah, there was the order to bring them in alive. Yeah.
Yep, because you got to turn them just like Inquisitors. Yeah. So kind of wrapping this up a little bit. The Inquisitors. The last point I wanted to make. Within orgs, we get a lot of organizations that talk about their values and what they do, and do those values do their actions of the org reflect their values, et cetera, et cetera. And one of the things we hear a lot is, we're like a family. We're like one big family.
No.
I mean, some orgs maybe, kinda, but the bigger you get, the less family you are, and more. Hey,
you come from a big family?
Do what?
Do you come from a big family?
Yeah, I had 9 uncles and aunts on one side.
Yeah. So my dad's family was like that.
Big family.
And looking at corporations and that level of like dysfunction, I'm like, oh, that's what you mean. Not like the close knit, like Waltons, like that kind.
That's one of the things I thought was really cool about the Inquisitors was their code names were brothers and sisters. and they fought like brothers and sisters, but they also worked like brothers and sisters. Can any of y'all think of an instance with your work or with a, I don't want to say family because I want to talk about kind of that extended family, just a group of folks that are close to you, whether that's through work or whatever, that you would consider extended family?
I'm gonna let those two talk. I've been running myself all night.
I mean,
That's funny.
Go ahead.
I mean, probably the dudes that I play games with every night. A couple of them are in chat right now. Those are my
squad.
those are my extended family.
Yeah.
I didn't have any brothers growing up, so kind of dudes that, especially this Josiah fella, who I'll talk about later. Definitely cool having extended family, because I don't really view my work family as family. It's more of like a community, because I feel like in my own personal view, like if I had a family member that worked in the same organization I was in, it'd probably be really, really tough for me to fire them. But I mean, they would probably fire me like tomorrow if given any applicable reason to, you know. But it's like, I mean, if it's your son, your daughter, your brother, I don't know, whoever, you're probably going to give them a little bit of leeway that you typically wouldn't give the other individuals. So I like to consider work a community and not as a family. So less like the Inquisitors, I guess you could say.
Yeah, I think what ends up happening in those situations is you get favoritism and things. You're exactly right. Yeah. Were you about to say something, Zane?
No, you can keep going for a second.
No, I was done. I feel like I talked.
Okay.
Oh, okay. I think from someone who isn't in a working environment right now, as someone who is technically a professional musician,
Technically,
right, make money technically. I think the closest thing to me for an extended family would be more like the bands that I'm in, specifically like for marching band, the entire front ensemble percussion, where we'll literally go out and have fun after games and everything. But at the end of the day, when we're in that workplace, we're there to do our work. We still goof around a little, but we get it done. So
like, kind of Cam, what you were saying, like camaraderie, right? The community as opposed to quote unquote family.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's cool. That was a good example, Zane. Thanks. We'll go ahead and wrap this up. There's just so much we could continue to talk about, and we have on the next show all the rest, and who knows where it'll go. But I wanted to spend a little time with you, Cameron, you coming on the show for the first time, and I say this again, the first time. You missed out last week. Last week we started the show 2 times, and on the 3rd time we finally started it 15 minutes late. This went off fantastic. This is amazing. Sorry, I had to point that out. Good job. So some of your our back and forth, I had asked for you to kind of send me a little description of you and what you like to do, and I don't read them, but I read them. I don't read them aloud to everyone.
Yeah, I got you.
and the first thing that's in the center of my screen are Naruto, Spider-Man, Batman, Luke Skywalker. Like those 4 characters are all right there in the same line, the same space. So tell me about those characters, starting with Naruto. How did you attach to that?
So I was a big Dragon Ball Z stan growing up, if you will. And so I was like, nah, I'm not going to watch Naruto. I'm not rocking with it. And in 2019, one of my best friends was like, dude, you just gotta watch it. He bought me like all the Storm games when they were on sale on PlayStation. It's like, just play this, like you'll get the story. And I'm like, dude, like I'm just gonna watch the anime, you know? And I just like I I just fell in love. Like I loved. My favorite Dragon Ball Z character was Vegeta, and so I kind of gravitated to Sasuke right as I started Naruto. And I'm a big anti-hero guy, I guess if you want to consider them those. And yeah, I probably finished the whole show. I didn't watch filler. Just to preface, I'm not a big filler guy. I had the whole
It's like
sheet.
50% filler.
Yeah, so I had
So
like the sheet,
much.
and I watched only canon and some / filler episodes or whatever, and I loved it. I wish I could erase Naruto, Dragon Ball Z from an anime perspective, just so I can experience it for the first time. And I mean, I like Naruto as a character, and I read the Boruto manga, so I'm kind of caught up with that. But yeah, Naruto. I was late to life on that compared to the others that I mentioned in the email, but Naruto's cool. Would recommend it for, I mean, anybody. So
that anime and whatnot, we have a show that talks about all that over on Saturdays, the Geek Gauntlet. So check that out. Any of y'all listening, the Geek Gauntlet, we go through everything from DC to MCU to anime to gaming to tabletop to, I mean, cons, everything. It's an all-encompassing like 5-hour show.
oh man,
Just kidding.
It's not 5 hours. It's like
4.5.
we try and keep 90 minutes, but we're kind of shiny squirrels.
Oh, and we don't do that on the show ever.
No, yeah.
Spider-Man. Spider-Man is one of my faves on the MCU side or Sony side or whatever.
who knows?
So tell me about your experience with Spidey.
So growing up, that was probably the first ever superhero that I can remember being introduced to. I had the animated show on VHS. I think I still have some of the movies. I have the Venom movie on VHS back at my mom's house still. So, and I spent probably 20 plus hours this past weekend playing the new game that just came out on PS5. So, it is great. Definitely worth having a PS5 just to play those games alone. So, probably not the most rational purchase I've ever made, but yeah, Spider-Man, it was great. Probably my favorite arc in Spider-Man is the black suit, because I feel like it kind of brings out the best and the worst in Peter in some aspects. And kind of makes him, I feel like it makes Peter a little bit more relatable, because it's like, I feel like he's kind of one of those heroes that holds back in a way, because I mean, well, he's also a kid, but he's like, I have this super strength, I'm super smart, and I'm like, I feel like him and Superman are probably a couple of heroes that probably hold back in terms of when they're dealing with their villains, and I feel like Black Suit Peter is probably my favorite Peter.
Yeah, I think the bit, just kind of sidebar Spidey world. I love Spider-Man. When he started beating up Flash, like I think he was like, "Oh crap!" Like, let's take a step back. And I think that changed. I mean, it was so early, right? It was like, I don't know what's happening to me and whatever. On whichever arc we're looking at, or whichever universe, whenever he's in high school and he beats some kid up, right? Like I get that, like not knowing your full strength, realizing you could totally wipe the floor with this guy, but then what, right? Yeah, man, I like that. I'm gonna skip Batman because I could just sit and talk about Batman.
Same.
Luke Skywalker, though, yeah, I was not a huge fan of Luke growing up. I was always a Vader fan, man. So tell me though about your fascination with Luke.
Luke Skywalker, probably say he's probably one of my heroes. I remember watching I was a prequel kid, but my stepdad was very adamant about, we're going to watch the movies like this. And then, because I was probably like 4 or 5 when Attack of the Clones came out. I saw Revenge of the Sith in theaters, but like, so I watched all 4. And I remember watching Empire with him, and I'm asking all these questions. I'm like, after, he slices off Vader's head and Dagobah and the tree, and you see Luke's face in the mask, and I'm like, is he like Luke from the future? Like what is going on? You know what I mean? And I'm just like, I have no idea what. And then finally in Return of the Jedi is probably my favorite Luke. I sometimes go on YouTube and watch that Jabba entrance all the time because after watching Empire, then watching that, I'm like, oh my gosh, is he actually going to be a Sith? Like he just choked out this, and I'm just like glued. And then when he's about, he has the chance to kill Vader, turn to the dark side, give the Emperor what he wants, throws the lightsaber away, and he just to me is the epitome of what a hero is. And if I have repeat appearances, I'll kind of share my thoughts, because you can probably say I have some gripes with the sequel trilogy with how Luke's portrayal was. But I think as a whole, I mean, he was the best of the Jedi. So in my opinion.
Yeah, Mark Hamill shares your sentiment.
Yes.
Yeah. So I mean, if the thing about next week's show, everyone is absolutely, no, that was fantastic. Best description. Thank you, Josiah. Shoot, what was I saying? I saw the fire and got squirrel. What was I just saying? Somebody help me. Wow.
Luke being, we just finished talking about Luke.
Yeah.
I got nothing.
Luke is the go. And I told him I was gonna shout him out, not to cut you off, Dana, but shout out to Josiah. Speaking of the sequels, I kind of fell out of love with Star Wars at the end, and the last couple of years getting close with Josiah, he really kind of brought me back in. We grinded Clone Wars and Rebels together, and we still need to watch the movies on Discord, and now I'm just all into the lore, and it's a large part due to him. So
that's awesome. Josiah
brought me back to the light.
Or the darkness. So I remember what I was going to say. It was Return of the Jedi Luke is my favorite Luke, if I have a favorite Luke. I believe wholly, and I use Luke Skywalker as a huge example, that no one is too far gone.
No.
Whatever situation. There's just, even someone that no one believed in, only his son did. That's all it took. One true believer to make a change. And the same thing happened to Kylo Ren. He needed one true believer to make a change, and that was Rey. I wanted to take your hand, but I wanted Ben's hand. Like that moment. So there is this theme, and yes, the sequels kind of at first. The more I dug into them and unfurled some of those layers, the more I like it. But I agree with you. I do not like what they did with Luke in the sequels.
No, that's Jake Skywalker. I don't know who that guy was on screen.
Bo and Luke. That was Bo Duke, not Luke Duke.
I don't know.
Oh, that's a throwback. Bo and Luke Duke. I don't even think y'all know who those people are. Oh, Cat might know who Bo and Luke Duke are.
I probably don't.
Yeah, we'll just leave that alone. Dukes of Hazzard. It's an old show back in the 70s.
It's a long time ago.
No, so next week we will be meeting again for Inquisitors Part 2. I would love to have the same panel return for this show.
We dressing up for Halloween?
Yes, absolutely. I will be dressing up. Absolutely. Don't know what I'm going to be dressing as, but I will be dressing up. And that will be my second time to dress up, because I'll be dressing
up. It's Halloween night.
Saturday. Yeah, it's Halloween night.
Nice.
Like, oh, crap, I might have plans. Dude, just pop in. Pop in.
We'll see.
That's all I'm asking. Just pop in. If not, fine. I'll run a show by myself, but I would love to have this panel back to continue the conversation next week. Thank you, Cameron. A pleasure, and we will absolutely get to chat a little more next week.
For sure.
So because I was running behind, did not pull a piece up I need to. So I'll do what I did last week, where I'll pull it up while I'm chatting about what it is. Hold on. Okay, I'm out of water. We'll try to do this anyway. So we all know that Dana does all the TikToks and the fun stuff and the pudding. And what I have started doing is the folks that I really follow that do some fantastic video melding, whatever. I want to try to spread some love. And so, yeah, I've got some love to spread. Last week or week before, I mentioned Anxious Angie. We had that. And I need... How do you do messages on TikTok? Don't answer that. Don't answer.
I don't have TikTok, so I can't. I don't know.
I don't have the talks.
I'm not gonna say anything.
Thank you.
You got this.
I got this. Look, we're doing great. You know why? Because I started the show correctly and on time. All right. I need a video right here. Boom. Let's go. Reels. Here we go. So there is an Order of the Sith group on Facebook, and we are going to stop. Okay. I'm going to try to share my screen and try to break it. Here we go. I swear, next time I will have this prepped and ripped. No, I won't. Share screen.
I believe.
Nope, not that one. Yep, that one. Go. And can y'all see that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And Darth Vader to
there.
learn from Darth Malgus. Chief Palpatine's journey to the dark side began in his youth as he collected Sith artifacts and unlocked their forbidden secrets. Following his triumph over the Jedi, fate intervened, altering his plans when Darth Vader fell to Obi-Wan Kenobi on Mustafar and was no longer able to realize his full potential in the Force. To inspire his new apprentice, Sidious turned to his collection of arcane treasures, providing Vader with the surviving fragments of Darth Malgus' journal from the Great Galactic War. Sidious hoped his apprentice would draw connections between himself and the ancient Sith Lord. Both Malgus and Vader had defiled the sacred halls of the Jedi Temple, led armies, and sustained serious injuries that forced them to rely on life-sustaining respirators. Sidious's intent was to turn Vader's physical torment into a wellspring of power and develop the same unwavering allegiance Malgus had for his Sith Emperor. Palpatine envisioned Vader as the embodiment of his will, an unstoppable enforcer of his dark reign. What did...
So, yeah. Videos like that, Order of the Sith on Facebook. If you have Facebook, check those guys out. I'll put the link in something. I'll follow or share on our Geek News Now stuff. Wow. There is another person from TikTok. I could not get it that do some things as well. So yeah, gonna start kind of just spreading our show around and featuring some artists, which was part of the plan, right? The artist, it says Korriban Corner, but that was the artist one. Shoot, I don't think I said anything about a transition ever this time. David, don't yell at me.
But here's the thing, like most of our shows don't have a transition, so like I don't know who's on you about that.
Everybody.
I am.
You mean everybody that doesn't do it?
You know what? You're right. Like I've been on the shows. It's just like open the floodgates and let's go.
Yeah.
And then I wait till the very end to get on to chat with folks on chat because I like to break it. Okay. So that was that Order of the Sith. Check them out. I did not get my ripped apparel. I love that store. I didn't get my ripped apparel link today. So all I'm going to say is, because I need you to go through our link because they're our partner, right? But no, F it. Just go. Here, F it. I'll show you.
We can put it in the link. We can put it in the chat if you don't have it right now.
Put it in
put it down in the
chat.
comments.
Okay.
Drop it in the chat. Check the
it in
comments
chat.
below.
Chat. Oh, yeah. Like and subscribe. Do all the things.
Ring the notification bell.
Yeah.
Ring that
If
notification
you don't ring
bell.
that notification bell, you don't know when we go live because you're still learning our schedule.
Exactly.
And we love you Sith much. So it would mean so much to us if you would go ahead and subscribe. That way you can come and Sith with us.
It's the first time I've heard Sith and love in the same sentence ever.
Sith love red lightsabers.
And power.
And power. And money. You have both. No. That was a different movie. Different star movie. No, thanks guys. This was fun. I need to maybe think about some structure next week because there's just so many people. We had to kind of put Riva and Tub, whatever her name is, in the same bucket to kind of talk about. So
I mean, we can always
Trilla.
three-part it.
thank you. What?
Trilla.
We can always do
Or
it as a
Trilla.
three-part.
We could still do it at 3. No. Okay. So here's the deal. Part 1, part 2, and then Dana's gone for a week.
Oh, never mind.
Yeah.
Dang.
So that we have to wrap it up next week. Some news for us. We have shows, our podcast shows across the Geek News Now channel on YouTube. We broke 100 on our new subscriber because we have a new page. So our thousands have to try to make their way over to our new site or a new page. So if you're
It is
catching this
Geek News
on
Now Official.
Geek
Geek
News
News Now Official is the
Wait.
one you want to like. And subscribe.
Official.
Official.
You give me grief
Official.
about how I say that. That's not nice. Here you go. This one, YouTube at Geek News Now Official.
Right there.
That's right. But yeah, no, this was fantastic. We're gonna, I think, wrap this up. I want to ask. You said you did not have a TikTok. You guys do. Zane, we'll hook up. Maybe Kat, we can do like a dual live later this week. Wait, is today Tuesday? Yeah, course.
Tuesday, yeah.
I don't know, folks. It's been a week already. So yeah, I'll see if we can do something maybe Wednesday or Thursday, a live during the
In the
day,
evening?
like a lunch break. If that's, I don't know how that works for
Yeah,
you.
I couldn't
Zane,
get a
or
lunch
you.
break one done, but
You what?
I probably couldn't get a lunch break one done.
I'm
You know.
chilling.
But an afternoon,
Yeah, I could do like an early evening.
like an early evening. Okay, cool. Man, so our shows right now on our lineup. I was talking about the shows. They are Go Cat.
All right. So coming up after this show, we are not going to have a Cantina Happy Hour on Thursday because we are sending Darth Zane to go celebrate his son's birthday. But that means that gives you time to catch up on any of the past ones you've missed over there at Geek News Now Official. Saturdays, we have the Geek Gauntlet, where we talk about everything from anime to gaming to DC Comics. You name it, if it's in the world of geek, we're going to talk about it. The following Monday, you can hop on in with MCU Monday while they're going ahead and going to be recapping Loki Episode 4. And then, of course, on Tuesday, come on back and visit us here at the Sith Dominion. We also have a few other channels that are not live, but they've got pre-recorded content. So you can check out the Captain's Logs and Lightsaber podcast on our YouTube channel, as well as the Hobby Hut. We've put together some really fun like ASMR videos of us doing some fun geeky hobbies. We've got a miniature painting, a couple Legos. I'm getting ready to start painting my next miniature paint. That's going to be Drizzt Orden from D&D.
Nice. Very cool. Zane, what do you got going on? In the gigs? You're muted. I can't hear you. Yeah.
Sorry, I was business. I don't think I have anything coming up.
You have no gigs this week? Nothing? You marching?
Uh,
I mean, I would
Am I
think
marching
you would
this
know
Saturday?
it's 3-4 days away, but
well, yeah, but what is this Saturday?
I don't know.
You don't know what's happening this Saturday?
Oh yeah. I'm a terrible father. My daughter's getting wedding. Holy cow, we're gonna have to wrap this show up, folks. I'm dying. She's getting married, so we're going to go see her at the wedding. So of course he's not gonna be marching on Saturday. Because he'll be up there watching his sister get married with me and the others. Cameron, what do you got going on this week, man?
Nothing, just working, getting my golf clubs regripped. That's all I got on the agenda. So
I haven't golfed in 10 years.
I'm picking it back up, so I'm liking it.
Yeah, I think I might trade spots on the show for driving me around a Lynx. Think we could swing that?
Probably.
Get it?
Yeah.
Get it? Sweet.
I like the puns. I like the puns.
Oh, you're in the right place for that. All three of us. You're in trouble. Seriously, folks, thank you. Check out geeknewsnow.net, our official site. And on there, you'll have all the links to all the things, articles, galore, just everything you can imagine. I mentioned the writer's strike. We talk about that. But most of our stuff is all geek-centric, which is why we're Geek News Now. I've got an article coming up in the next week or so. Before I go on my trip, David, I promise be looking forward to that. It's going to be kind of an extension of Balin Skull. Whereas the last Balin Skull article talked how wonderful he was and amazing, we're going to talk about Mortis and potential what's with that and why. So check out that article when it hits. Thank you guys for joining. Any other last parting shots before we close it?
One last thing. If you've ever thought about having your own podcast, if you've got geek takes that you want to get in front of the eyes of thousands, or if you've ever thought about what would it be like to handle social media for a geek organization, hop on over to Geek News Now on Facebook. You're going to go ahead and you'll send us a message. And because right now we are definitely looking to expand our folks that are working with us. Like I said, you don't even need experience. If you've never podcasted, we can teach you. If you've never written an article, we can walk you through all that and we can teach you how to kill it on social media.
I honestly, I can attest. I never wrote an article for like that ever. And David was very patient, very good as an editor for me as well. And now, I mean, I'm not awesome. I got a lot to learn still, but man, the articles are snappy and crispy as we were talking earlier. So yeah, head over there, check it out. Gaming reviews, everything. All right, folks. Well, I guess that's it. And yeah, look for a TikTok live here later this week. We will see you guys next week for part 2. Thank you, Cameron. Thank you, Zane. Thank you, Kat. And remember, kids, peace is a lie. There's only passion. Good night.